Hi, I'm Bet from Bet's Makes, and today's lesson is all about designing a simple card and adding the score lines. And this is going to be so easy. You'll be able to develop your own sizes and shapes without an issue. So let's get started by opening up Cricut Design Space and starting a new project. In Design Space, you have the option to add your own shapes or upload SVGs, PNGs, or other files in order to make designs and cards. And I know with my card compendium, I pre-designed a ton of them, but I didn't do them all in Design Space. I designed a lot of them in Illustrator, but there is no reason why you cannot design your own, and it's pretty simple, especially when you want just basic card shapes. So let's get started with this by adding a shape to our canvas, and we're going to add a square. I'm going to pull the square just out into the middle. I want to change the color. Now with this square, we're not going to be able to do a lot unless you put a line down the middle. So what we need to do is unlock it here, and we're going to change the size to what we want for a card. Now 5.5 wide by 5.5 makes a nice card size, so that's exactly what we're going to do. But we need to make the card as wide as we want, so we have to double the size of 5.5, which becomes 11. So we're going to do it in the sizing up here. So our width now is going to become 11 inches. I'm going to press the Tab key, and I want it 5.5 inches high. Then I'm going to change the lock back to locked. So now we have the basic card size. Now you could do multiple card sizes. Now all I need to do now is I want to make sure I have a score line down the center in the perfect place. Now what we're going to do is come over to the shapes. I'm going to click on score line. Now the score line also has a size. I'm going to unlock it here. And the size here, because it goes up and down, is I want it 5.5 inches. Perfect. Now let's lock it back up. I can lock it here, or I can lock it over here. So now we have a score line and we have a card. I'm going to highlight them both. This is the simple trick. This makes it so easy. I'm going to come here to align. I'm going to center them vertically, and I'm going to center them horizontally. So now as you see, everything is perfectly aligned. Last thing I need to do here is I group it. You need to come down here and attach it. Now you have your own template here for a 5x5 card. So when this is closed, you have a 5x5 card with a nice score line down the center. And that is a very simple way. Now you can do this with other shapes as well. So let me just move this square card out of the way. I want to make a card that has a different shape. So I'm going to start with a circle. I'm going up here to line type, and I'm going to change that to green. I'm going to unlock it. Now I'm going up here to the unlock. So the height again is we want 5.5 inches as our max. And you'll see how it becomes elongated. You wonder, how the heck am I going to make a card out of that with folding it to make it a perfect size? So what we want to do now is come over to our width. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to make it 11 inches. Perfect. Now, back to the shapes, we want another score line, and we're going up to our score line here. We still want to make this 5.5 inches, and we want to select both of them, and we're going to align them horizontally and vertically. We are going to group them. I always group just in case I want to do something else with it, and then attach. So now we have another card that has a different shape. I'm going to show you one more thing to make this really interesting. So I'm going back here to the shapes, and I am going to pick on an octagon this time. And let's go over here and let's pick on a different color of blue. Now I'm just going to change the size of this one. I'm going to unlock it. I could unlock it down here as well. So the width this time, I still want it only 5.5. I'm not putting the 11 in this time, but I'm going to make it 5.5. So now we have 1/2 of the card available. Okay, that makes sense. What I want to do next is I want to duplicate that shape, and I am going to align them together. Now you'll notice I need to push them so that they're exactly the same, but the first thing I want to do is make sure that the top piece is the same. So let's go at the top. We're going to align it to the top, and that should be pretty well it. The bottom will align automatically. But how the heck am I going to get these two pieces together? Well, we know that this is 5.5 wide. So if I click on this one, and this is where it becomes really interesting, I am going to align the position of this at 1 inch by 1 inch. And it's going to fit down inside here. It's 1 inch by 1 inch. This one is going to be 1 inch down, but because it's 5.5 across, it will be the 1 inch plus the 5.5. So you have to know which is your X and Y. We know this is wide, so we have 1 inch plus 5.5 is going to make it 6.5. And you'll see how it went into place. And then the Y is the one coming down. That's going to be at 1 inch, and it's going to come down. Now that looks pretty good. That's a card that will open up with a different shape. Now this time I am going to weld them together so I have one shape. Perfect. My next step is to come over and get that score line. Now this time it's going to be a little more difficult because the score line has to fit inside just this one little piece of the shape. So you're going to have to eyeball it a little bit, but we know that it has to be at 6.5. So I check my X position at 6.5, and sure enough it is. That means that it's going to go right down the center. Now I'm going to highlight them both to make sure my score line stays there. I am going to group it, and then I'm going to attach it. So now we have 3 different shapes of cards, a very simple way of putting your own together. You can add your own designs, cutouts, embellishments, whatever that happens to be. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson on making your own cards. I know it's simple, but once you catch the hang of it and using the align and the position tools, it'll make it a lot easier. So until next time, happy crafting.